My friends, sometimes life feels like a battlefield. You face opposition, criticism, betrayal, and pain from people who never understood your heart. You try to do right, yet wrong seems to chase you down. You give love, yet receive bitterness in return. But I want to tell you today, God sees it all. Nothing escapes His eyes. He watches when you are silent instead of fighting back, when you forgive instead of striking, when you stay humble even when you could have proved them wrong. The Lord says, "Vengeance is mine, I will repay." And when God steps in, no weapon formed against you will prosper. You see, the God who lifts the humble is the same God who brings the proud to their knees. Some of you have been mocked, lied about, pushed aside, or underestimated. But there's coming a time when those very people will see the hand of God upon your life. They won't be able to explain it. They won't be able to stop it. They will have to acknowledge that it was the Lord who blessed you. The tables are about to turn, not because you fought back, but because you stayed faithful while others were plotting. God is about to humble your enemies, not to destroy them, but to show them that His favor rests upon those who trust Him. There is power in keeping your heart pure when others harden theirs. There is strength in silence when others are shouting lies. There is victory in waiting when others rush ahead. Every time you chose peace over revenge, you were writing your testimony. Every tear you shed, every prayer you whispered in the dark, every time you bit your tongue instead of speaking bitterness, God counted it all. And now He's getting ready to show you why. He asked you to wait. The very things that were used against you will become proof of His faithfulness. When Joseph was betrayed by his brothers, sold as a slave, and thrown into prison, it looked like his enemies had won. But what happened? God raised him up so high that the same brothers who betrayed him had to come bow before him for help, not because Joseph was powerful, but because God was. The same God who turned Joseph's pain into purpose is working behind the scenes in your life. The pit you were thrown into is not your ending. It's the path to your promotion. God is setting the stage for your victory so that when it happens, no one can take the credit but Him. Some people who laughed at you are about to see you rise. Some who said you'd never make it will watch God open doors they never could. Some who thought you were weak will see that your strength came from the Lord. You don't need to defend yourself because God is your defender. You don't need to fight for attention because His favor will make you stand out. The same people who once ignored you will have to admit, surely the Lord is with them. So hold your peace, stay in faith, and keep your heart clean. Don't let their actions make you bitter. Let them make you better. Because when God humbles your enemies, He doesn't do it with cruelty. He does it with glory. He blesses you so greatly that those who cursed you will have no choice but to respect what God has done. Your story is not ending in defeat. It's about to become a divine display of what happens when you let the Lord fight your battles. God sees every injustice, every false word, every wound you've endured in silence, and He is preparing to act on your behalf at the right moment, turning your pain into purpose and your trials into testimony. Those who have mocked, betrayed, or underestimated you will soon witness God's hand lifting you higher, not through revenge or pride, but through His undeniable favor that exalts the humble and silences the proud. Choosing peace over retaliation, forgiveness over bitterness, and faith over fear are the true weapons of spiritual victory, and every silent act of obedience is being recorded by heaven. Just as Joseph's betrayal led to his breakthrough, The dark seasons of your life are not meant to destroy you, but to position you for the destiny God designed long before your enemies plotted against you. You don't need to fight for recognition or prove your worth. God Himself is your defender, and His timing will reveal your strength, elevate your influence, and prove that His grace is greater than any opposition. When God humbles your enemies, He does it not with destruction, but through the radiance of His blessings upon you, showing everyone that faith, patience, and humility always lead to divine victory. God sees every injustice you've endured, every lie that was spoken behind your back, every betrayal that broke your heart, and every tear that fell when no one was watching. Nothing is hidden from His eyes. You may have felt forgotten, as if your kindness went unnoticed and your patience unrewarded, but God has been watching the entire time. He saw the moments you chose silence instead of defending yourself, love instead of anger, prayer instead of revenge. Each of those moments was a seed planted in faith, and God is preparing a harvest that will testify of His goodness. When you walk through the fire and stay faithful, heaven takes notice. The same God who watched Daniel in the lion's den and delivered him without a scratch is watching you. The same God who saw David being hunted by Saul is with you in your hiding place. You are not invisible to God. He knows every struggle, every disappointment, and every moment you wanted to give up but didn't. Those silent battles, the ones no one else applauded, are the very moments that have drawn the attention of heaven. God is not ignoring your pain. He is recording it. The tears you've cried are not wasted. They are the ink He uses to write your testimony. He is preparing to turn your pain into purpose and your trials into triumph. When the right time comes, He will use what hurt you to heal others. He will turn the story of your suffering into a declaration of His strength. So, even when the night feels long and your prayers seem unanswered, remember, this God's silence is not His absence. He is shaping your character, building your endurance, and preparing your victory. The hands that created the universe are still holding your story, and every injustice you faced is being woven into something glorious. You may not see the full picture yet, but the one who sees it all is working everything together for your good. There comes a time when the very people who spoke against you will have to witness the hand of God upon your life. You may not understand why you had to be overlooked, rejected, or falsely accused, but every moment of humiliation was preparing the ground for divine elevation. God never forgets those who stay humble while others rise through pride. You didn't lose when you stayed quiet. You won the moment you chose to trust God instead of proving yourself. Every insult, every laugh behind your back, every unfair situation, He saw it all, and He is turning it around. When God lifts you, no one can push you down. The same mouths that spoke against you will speak of your favor. The same eyes that rolled in disbelief will watch you shine in places they said you'd never reach. But your rise won't come from arrogance, it will come from grace. God promotes those who keep their hearts right when wronged. He blesses those who love when it would be easier to hate. Your enemies are about to witness that God's favor doesn't depend on approval from man. It flows directly from heaven. Do not think for a moment that God delights in punishing anyone. When He humbles your enemies, it isn't to destroy them, but to awaken them. He uses your life as a living example of what faithfulness looks like. He shows them that no one can curse what He has blessed. He proves that His mercy triumphs over human judgment. In the end, it's not about you defeating them. It's about Him revealing Himself through you. The beauty of God's justice is that it restores without bitterness. He prepares a table before you in the presence of those who tried to pull you down, not to humiliate them, but to show them his love and power. You won't need to explain yourself, defend yourself, or remind anyone of what they did. Your life will speak louder than your words. The blessing coming your way will make it clear that the God who exalts the humble and silences the proud is still reigning, still watching, and still faithful to those who trust in him. There is a rare and powerful strength in the soul that chooses peace when chaos surrounds it. The world teaches you to fight back, to defend every word, to prove your worth, but God teaches something different. When you choose forgiveness over bitterness, when you answer hate with silence, and when you let faith lead instead of fear, heaven takes notice. Every act of restraint, every moment you walked away when you could have fought back, becomes a victory in God's eyes. These are not signs of weakness. They are marks of spiritual maturity, evidence that your trust is no longer in people, but in the one who holds your destiny. The enemy's greatest desire is to provoke you into reacting, to make you lose your peace so he can claim your joy. But when you choose stillness, you rob him of his power. You remind him that your strength does not come from approval, applause, or validation. It comes from the quiet confidence that God fights for you. Each time you stay calm when others expect chaos, you are declaring your faith louder than any words could ever say. The world might not understand it, but heaven celebrates it. Forgiveness is never easy. It stretches your heart, tests your humility, and challenges your pride. But when you forgive, you free yourself. You break the chains that tie you to your pain. You allow God to step in where your hands can't reach. And every prayer you whisper through tears becomes a weapon of victory. Your silence is not weakness, it's strategy. Your patience is not passivity, it's power under control. Each time you chose to bless those who hurt you, you were proving that you trust God more than your emotions. Every quiet surrender became a spiritual triumph. What others thought was your defeat was actually your preparation. God was training you to carry blessing without arrogance, power without revenge, and favor without pride. You may not realize it now, but your peace has been building your protection. Your humility has been creating your promotion. The same peace that kept you silent will soon be the proof that you never lost. You simply let God win for you. There are moments in life when it feels like betrayal has crushed you beyond repair, when those you trusted most have turned their backs, leaving you alone and confused. But even in those painful seasons, God is working with a purpose that far outweighs the pain. Think of Joseph, betrayed by his brothers, sold as a slave, thrown into prison for something he didn't do. To the natural eye, it looked like he was forgotten. But every setback was a setup. Every dark place was a step toward the throne God had prepared for him. The same pattern is unfolding in your life. The pit may look like a punishment, but in God's eyes, it's preparation. When everything seems to be falling apart, heaven is often aligning the pieces. The betrayal that broke your heart may be the very thing that leads you into your destiny. Sometimes God allows rejection to redirect you. He lets certain doors close because the ones you were trying to enter are too small for the purpose He has placed inside you. You may be praying for rescue, but God is working on revelation. He's not just changing your situation, He's changing you. Pain refines us in ways comfort never could. It humbles our hearts, sharpens our faith, and teaches us to depend on God instead of people. Joseph could have grown bitter in the prison, But he chose to trust the promise. He kept serving, kept believing, and kept honoring God in the lowest place. That's what positioned him for elevation. The very brothers who tried to destroy him had to come and bow before him, not because he was powerful, but because God's plan cannot be stopped by human betrayal. You may not see it now, but every tear, every sleepless night, every moment of disappointment has purpose. The same God who turned Joseph's prison into a palace is writing a similar turnaround for you. What was meant to harm you is being transformed into a testimony of his faithfulness. The betrayal that felt like an ending is actually the birthplace of something divine. What your enemies meant for evil, God is about to use for your good. You don't have to chase recognition when you are chosen by God. The world may overlook you, misunderstand you, or even ignore your worth, but heaven never does. God has seen every quiet act of faithfulness that no one else noticed. He has watched you serve when it was inconvenient, love when it was painful, and stay kind when you were treated unfairly. You don't need to prove who you are. God himself will reveal it at the right time. His timing is perfect, and when he opens a door, no man can shut it. There is a deep peace that comes from knowing you don't have to fight your own battles. You may have been tempted to explain yourself, to show people your worth, but God says, "Be still, and I will defend you." When you let him handle what's beyond your control, you give him room to perform what only he can do. He has ways of vindicating you that no argument, no plan, no explanation ever could. The same people who doubted you will soon see the evidence of his favor on your life. Sometimes the waiting season feels like silence, but it's in that silence that God is writing your victory. The unseen preparation is where his glory is born. The longer the wait, the greater the revelation. You may not understand why doors have stayed closed, but it's because God is preparing one that will fit you perfectly. No struggle, no striving, no pretending. What he has for you will recognize you when it arrives. Your identity is not built on approval. It's anchored in God's truth. When he decides it's time to elevate you, your name will rise in rooms you've never entered, and your favor will speak louder than your voice ever could. Stay faithful where you are. Keep showing up, keep trusting, keep believing. You don't need to fight for the spotlight because God's light will find you. The moment he declares it's your time, every delay, every rejection, and every hidden season will suddenly make sense. He will lift you up in such a way that everyone will know it was his hand, not yours. That made it happen. When God humbles your enemies, he does it in a way that leaves no room for pride, vengeance, or gloating. He does it through his overwhelming goodness in your life. His blessings become the evidence of his justice. The same people who once questioned your worth will see you walking in favor so undeniable that they'll have to acknowledge the hand of God upon you. He doesn't expose them to embarrass them. He reveals his glory to transform them. What was meant to humiliate you becomes the stage where his power shines the brightest. God's justice is not like human justice. While we often seek to see our enemies fall, God seeks to make his mercy known. He will lift you so high, bless you so greatly, and strengthen you so deeply that the ones who tried to curse you will witness what grace truly looks like. The greatest victory is not when your enemies are destroyed, but when they are silenced by the evidence of God's goodness in your life. The blessings that flow to you will speak louder than any words of defense ever could. When you walk in divine favor, you no longer need to prove anything. God himself becomes your validation. The peace that radiates from you, the strength that carries you, and the joy that can't be stolen. These are signs that you have been vindicated by heaven. Those who tried to bring you down will realize that the very pressure they used to hurt you only pushed you closer to God's purpose. They will see that no scheme, no lie, no rejection can stop what God has already ordained. And as He exalts you, He also refines your heart. He teaches you to carry blessing without arrogance, to walk in victory without vengeance. Because when God fights for you, the result is never destruction. It's transformation. He turns pain into power, shame into strength, and bitterness into beauty. The same hands that once tried to harm you will be left open in awe, not of you, but of the God who lifted you. In the end, His glory will be the story, and your life will be the proof that faith and humility are never wasted. There comes a moment when all the tears you've cried, all the silent prayers you've whispered, and all the nights you've spent wondering why will begin to make sense. God never forgets a single act of faith, not one decision to stay kind when you could have been cruel, not one time you chose to trust Him when you couldn't see a way. Everything you've walked through has been shaping your spirit for the place He's taking you. Every season of waiting has been preparing your heart to carry blessing without breaking under its weight. He has been molding you quietly, refining you patiently, because what He is about to release in your life requires strength, humility, and faith that cannot be shaken. You may have been misunderstood, rejected, or treated unfairly, but you were never unseen. God watched you choose mercy when revenge would have been easier. He saw you love those who wounded you, serve when no one thanked you, and believe when everything seemed lost. And now, the time is coming when what He whispered in your private pain will be revealed in public favor. Those who once doubted you will have to witness what God can do with a heart that refuses to grow bitter. You didn't fight your way to this place. Faith brought you here. You didn't climb over others to rise. Grace lifted you up. You didn't earn it by force. You received it by faithfulness. When God moves, He doesn't need an audience's approval. He doesn't need the world to agree with His timing. He simply speaks and doors open. He simply commands and situations shift. He simply breathes and everything changes. The very places that once rejected you will one day call for you. The same ground that once held your tears will soon hold your testimony. What felt like delay was actually divine alignment. The waiting wasn't punishment, it was preparation. God had to protect you from certain things until your heart was strong enough to handle the blessing without losing your peace. And as He lifts you, He will do it so gently, so beautifully, that you will know it was never your strength, but His grace that carried you. The same God who allowed the storm is the one who will use it to reveal your strength. The same people who once said you were finished will watch you flourish under His hand. They will see that your peace didn't come from circumstance, but from confidence in the one who promised never to leave you. You see, when God humbles your enemies, it's not to make you proud, it's to remind you that He alone is the author of your story. He raises you up not to boast, but to bless. The more He lifts you, the softer your heart must become. Because true victory isn't about standing taller than others. It's about bowing deeper before God. And in that humility, His glory shines the brightest. So stand still in faith. The battle has already been won. The same hands that shaped you in the dark are about to present you in the light. The same God who saw your pain is about to showcase your purpose. You are not behind, you are right on time. Every delay has been divine. Every struggle has been sacred. You didn't lose anything that was meant for you. You simply gained the wisdom to carry what's coming next. God is about to move, not in small ways, but in undeniable power. What he's about to do in your life will not only humble your enemies, it will glorify his name.